The tandem of head coach and quarterback, Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos, have emerged victorious over the Washington Commanders in an absolute thriller, 27-26. If you witnessed that contest, you are fully aware of the sheer chaos that unfolded. What a game. The decision to go for a two-point conversion rather than kicking the extra point. This matchup very easily could have concluded in a tie. Although, given the rhythm Bo Nix and this Broncos offense discovered, I'm not entirely convinced. It felt as if they were poised to drive down the field and at minimum secure a game-winning field goal. So, a completely insane game, a truly wild contest, and an exceptionally poor evening for the Legion of Denver Broncos detractors. A terrible night for the Broncos haters and the Nix skeptics. Nix was absolutely balling. Do you understand the caliber of performance he displayed today? I'll delve deeper into this analysis come Monday. You know which elite quarterback he vividly reminded me of? The very comparison I drew last season, a player like Josh Allen. And observe how that individual is performing at this very moment. Witness the throws he is making, the varied arm angles. Did you see that touchdown pass he delivered while falling to the turf? Yes, precisely. It immediately brought to mind an instance when Patrick Mahomes completed a pass to a wide-open receiver as he was stumbling, and a commentator famously declared, "That's the greatest pass I've ever seen in my entire life." I am now incredibly eager to hear what that same analyst will have to say regarding Bo Nix's throw on Monday. I cannot wait for that commentary. However, what I was most gratified to observe relates to the pervasive narrative that head coach Sean Payton lacks trust in his rookie quarterback. It is remarkably amusing to listen to people fabricate these claims asserting, "Oh, the Eagles don't trust Jalen Hurts. The Broncos don't trust Bo Nix. It's pure invention." Very well. If that is the case, then how does one explain the overtime sequence? A 12-yard completion, another 12-yard completion, a massive 41-yard strike, a 6-yard pass, followed by a 5-yard touchdown run. You are correct. I suppose they didn't trust him at that critical juncture. They presumably declared, "We have no faith in you. We must take the football out of Bo Nix's hands immediately. We do not trust him to execute these throws, to make these pivotal plays. We lack confidence in him." He attempted 45 passes while the team only ran the ball 23 times. I thought Bo Nix performed superbly. To be clear, the entire squad played exceptionally well. There were numerous explosive plays. I believe the defensive unit performed admirably, considering the unconventional flow of this game. You cannot realistically anticipate a defensive masterpiece every single week. A respectful nod to Marcus Mariota. He played a very solid game. Alex Singleton emerged to make that crucial stop on the running back. While Hufanga was flagged for a tough pass interference penalty, I must admit, since the game was concluding in real time and I knew I needed to produce this video promptly during overtime, I didn't have the luxury of extensive replay review. I remain somewhat uncertain about the specifics of that play. Did the defensive back close on the receiver rapidly? Was it a slightly disorganized scramble drill? Was he attempting to time his break? Did he anticipate the receiver continuing his route toward the ball before he stopped? I genuinely don't have a definitive read on what transpired. It may have simply been one of those unfortunate moments that occur. It could have had, and technically did, though the result was negated, potentially catastrophic repercussions. Then, of course, there was the play involving Benito. I forget the exact context now, and I don't recall which Washington receiver was poised to be open. I believe it was a running back, as the color commentator highlighted immediately after the game concluded. I had to dash to begin recording, hence my somewhat fragmented recall. I apologize for that. But man, he was locked in. He had him covered. Benito essentially communicated, "I don't care about your design. You will attempt to throw the ball right at my assignment, and you will not succeed." An enormous game-altering play, a defining moment. As the commentator reiterated throughout the broadcast, this is a team that can win a Super Bowl. This is a team that can win a Super Bowl. And if you receive this version of Bo Nix, which was not flawless, his passer rating wasn't astronomical. His completion percentage was good, but not an otherworldly 85% for 400 yards and multiple scores. It was just a genuinely high-level performance. Yes, he threw a regrettable interception. No disputing that. But I felt he managed the game effectively. He was delivering critical throws. Did you all perceive it? He appeared so much more composed, so much more relaxed. He just radiated confidence. This is the tangible benefit of having a period of respite. As I explained previously, a team utilizes that time for a thorough self-assessment. You meticulously review what is functional and what is not, you refine your approach, and you eliminate inefficiencies. It provides an opportunity for profound internal examination, and that is precisely what seems to have occurred with Bo Nix during this interval. He was consistently taking what the defense gave him underneath, which I absolutely adore witnessing. He was intelligent, he was decisive, even when he chose to extend plays with his mobility and, shall we say, embrace a slightly more adventurous style. It still felt controlled. It did not feel scattered or desperate. It didn't evoke the image of a young quarterback frantically trying to manufacture something from nothing, as we witnessed in the Vikings game with another rookie, whose name escapes me at the moment, who channeled his inner Will Levis and forced a disastrous interception. There were earlier moments this season where Bo Nix seemed like a young signal caller attempting to make a play while the game was moving too rapidly for him. It was akin to watching a film with a chaotic war zone sequence, with elements flying everywhere, and you just want to yell, "Bo! You have to slow down. You must decelerate." This performance felt different. He was still operating with velocity, but it embodied what I often term controlled chaos. He was capable of processing and managing everything the situation demanded. It is reminiscent of scenes in superhero films where they depict a character's superspeed, like The Flash or Quicksilver, where they are sprinting incredibly fast, but their perception renders everything else in slow motion. That is what Bo Nix resembled in this contest. He was still moving quickly and operating at pace, but it felt significantly more relaxed and in command, as opposed to him being accelerated to a point where his physical actions were outpacing his mental processing. That was my primary takeaway from this game. Even if the Broncos had ultimately lost, their supporters should have felt encouraged by the performance because it showcased a clear elevation in Bo Nix's play. This ranked among his finest outings as a professional. It truly did. I was profoundly, wildly impressed. Statistically, a 64% completion rate, 321 passing yards, 1 touchdown pass, the single interception, only 1 sack taken, an 83.5 passer rating, and 16 rushing yards. He received a moderate level of support from the ground game, nothing extraordinary. They secured the touchdown runs, but it never truly felt like the rushing attack was something you could reliably lean on in a substantial, consistent manner, which explains the relatively low 23 total carries. Even R.J. Harvey's 35 yards on 13 attempts were largely buoyed by 1 longer gain, and similarly for McLaughlin, where a significant portion of his 24 yards came on 1 play. The offense still can't reliably churn out those consistent gains of 3, 4, 5 yards in a row. That consistent, methodical component doesn't quite seem fully established yet. Now observe this. Denver Broncos, 10 wins and 2 losses. The number 1 seed in the conference, appearing unstoppable. They have secured 9 consecutive victories. Interestingly, the New England Patriots have also won 9 straight. Just astonishing. The Kansas City Chiefs are currently positioned at the 10th seed. I feel compelled to remind everyone that 10 teams per conference do not qualify for the postseason. It's not 10. I just wasn't sure if that was universally understood. This is how the tie-breaking procedures are currently being applied. As I've mentioned before, I struggle to memorize every intricate tiebreaker rule. Wins tiebreak over New England based on best win percentage in common games. Okay, sure. That is how the scenario is currently resolved. For the NFC side, it states wins tiebreaker over LA Rams based on best win percentage in conference games. This is distinct from common games. This is specifically conference record. I also appreciate these moments because sometimes I'll admit, man, I'm not entirely certain of the exact mechanics here. Since I create content and individuals are always eager to inform me of how much I do or do not comprehend, I occasionally find myself in a state of mild confusion. What should I articulate? That's why I enjoy it when even seasoned analysts like Greg Olson or a commentator like Chris Collinsworth express bewilderment, such as his confusion over an intentional grounding ruling, where he speculated, "Oh, I guess he threw it too far," only for the rules expert to clarify, no, that shouldn't have been a penalty. It's genuinely amusing because everyone at times remains perplexed by these intricate regulations. Nevertheless, the Denver Broncos are the number 1 seed. However the mechanics function, that is the present reality. It is absolutely crazy. The Denver Broncos, are they officially back on top? Have they reclaimed their position upon the throne? Recall when the sky was allegedly falling? Do you remember that period? I distinctly remember it. The narrative was that the sky was collapsing. They were in a state of implosion. They were terrible. I thought Bo Nix was supposed to be exceptional. What transpired? They just kept winning, and winning, and winning, and winning. But the criticism persisted. We don't appreciate the manner in which they are winning. They are a fraudulent bunch. They are not genuinely proficient. They are the most overrated team in the league. These standings are misleading. Well, I'm not sure what to tell you. What do the official standings indicate? What alternative metrics should we prioritize here? Their quarterback is performing at an elite level. Their offensive line is executing at a high standard. Their defense is playing tremendously. The coaching on both sides of the ball is outstanding and well established. I am of the firm belief that the Denver Broncos are simply a great football team, irrespective of whether you wish to acknowledge it, whether you are prepared to agree with it or not. Regarding the tiebreaker, since both Denver and New England possess identical 6-2 conference records, the procedure presumably advanced to common games. I had initially anticipated it would proceed to divisional record, which would have favored New England, as they are 3-0 within the division compared to Denver's 2-1. However, it is undeniable that Denver has faced and will face a more demanding overall schedule than New England. That is what renders the final stretch so compelling. Examining the Patriots' remaining slate, they have the Buffalo Bills, which will be an arduous challenge but a fascinating matchup. Then the Baltimore Ravens, who will likely be playing for their collective livelihoods, with coaches potentially on the hot seat, so that should also be a difficult contest. The Baltimore Ravens are perpetually a coin flip. You never know which iteration will appear. They conclude with the New York Jets and the Miami Dolphins, not the most intimidating gauntlet. Conversely, the Broncos have the Las Vegas Raiders, a game that should be straightforward. Though their previous meeting was unexpectedly close, it should be more manageable this time. Then, the Green Bay Packers, which will be a tough, physical battle. Following that, the Jacksonville Jaguars, another challenging game. I am not excessively high on the Jaguars, despite their winning record and high seeding. I am very intrigued to see how this Denver defense performs against Trevor Lawrence. That will be a fun game to dissect. Then, of course, the pivotal Christmas Day matchup with the Kansas City Chiefs. I am aware Broncos fans are feeling confident, but I still maintain that will be an immensely difficult game. You cannot dismiss the Chiefs. They conclude with the Los Angeles Chargers in the final game of the regular season. As I've stated in previous analyses, who can predict the significance of that contest? Playoff positioning might be solidified by then, rendering it meaningless, or it could be decisive for all parties involved. It is notoriously difficult to forecast. The reality is the Raiders' game should be a victory. But in the NFL, you never know. The Packers game will be tough. The Jaguars game, again, presents a significant challenge, despite my personal reservations about Jacksonville's consistency. A monumental game will undoubtedly be the Christmas night showdown with Kansas City. The path to the number 1 seed is presently within the Broncos' control. It does somewhat feel like the Patriots have a marginally easier remaining schedule. We shall observe how events unfold, particularly in New England's games against Buffalo and Baltimore. There is not a substantial margin for error for Denver. There is no room for complacency. The Broncos are likely, for the most part, solidified in a playoff position. However, a loss to Jacksonville could certainly complicate matters, though they should, at minimum, retain some flexibility. Barring a late-season collapse, locking in at least the number 2 seed is a plausible outcome. That scenario would grant them home field advantage until a potential AFC championship game, not a disadvantageous position. It is a situation akin to what transpired with the Philadelphia Eagles last season, who retained home field throughout because the team beneath them was eliminated. That is a significant benefit. Simultaneously, if they were to slip to the 2 seed, they could potentially face a formidable first-round opponent like the Buffalo Bills. It is exceedingly difficult to project all potential playoff permutations at this juncture, so I will refrain from excessive speculation. We will simply conclude that, as I examine the landscape, essentially every conceivable outcome, from the top seed to a wild card, remains a possibility. Therefore, it is imperative to maintain focus. It is crucial to avoid dropping a seemingly winnable game on a failed 2-point conversion attempt, for instance. It is vitally important to simply take care of business. The Denver Broncos and Bo Nix accomplished precisely that tonight. A final salute to the defensive unit. A salute to the offensive squad. A salute to every Broncos supporter in Denver and those who made the journey to Washington. You witnessed a phenomenal effort. A massive season-defining victory. We will delve into a more comprehensive breakdown on Monday. I am signing off for the evening. Thank you all so much. Please let me know your perspectives in the comment section below. I make it a point to read every single comment that is posted. So whether you are in full agreement with me or you fundamentally disagree, I want to hear from you. Let's ignite some engaging discussions. Let's engage in some spirited debates. But ultimately, let's simply enjoy the experience and have a great time. Please do consider subscribing to the channel. We are in the process of cultivating a truly wonderful community here, and I would absolutely be thrilled to have you as a part of it. My goal is to build something that we all feel a genuine connection to, something that we are truly enthusiastic and proud to be involved with. And I believe we are making significant progress toward achieving that objective. Please do not forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it genuinely and substantially assists with visibility within the platform's algorithm. Thank you so very much for your time and engagement. I'll see you next time.